Hey, thanks for watching today. We're going to cover Mississippi tax lien auctions. We're going to take the first half of this video and just talk about what they are, how do they work, what are you buying, what are the terms, why do you want to buy these, why do you not want to buy them, and we'll go through that detail for you. But the second half of this video, we're going to demo how do you go through 125,000 or more tax liens in a 2-week period before these auctions happen, because it's a tight window and you're going to need Parcel Fair to get through all of those properties to find the ones that you want to bid on your strategy or whatever looks good to you. And we're going to show you how to do that in the second half of this video, how to research this stuff in just seconds so you're not combing through everything. All right, so for the start, let's get to the primer here. We're going to go through, talk about these fall auctions. So every year, Mississippi has these on the last Monday of August, like clockwork. This year, that lands on August 25th, and there are 78 online auctions. So you're probably wondering, if you've never shopped online for tax lien auctions before, how do you participate in 78 auctions in one day? Well, since they're online, you pre-bid. You're going to love the tools, because the tools with the auction houses, which were basically Govies has most of these counties. One of them is on Civic Source. Lincoln County broke ranks and went with Civic Source this year for whatever reason. But you're going to try these tools out. You're going to get to know the pre-bidding on these really lets you be in 78 places at once, or 5 places at once, however many auctions you want to bid in. But you're not limited like if these auctions were in person only. So, for example, Oklahoma, every year on a single day, every county auctions on the same day in person. So you actually do have to pick an auction to go to or send a friend or a business partner. Not true in Mississippi. You can actually kind of blitz them all. And again, we're going to do that second half of this video and show you how to get through tons of properties really fast. But yeah, so don't fret. You can participate in multiple auctions. What are you buying? You're basically you're getting a tax lien that is 18% interest rate. It is foreclosable, and the auction format is premium bid. So you're going to be bidding above taxes due, not bidding the interest down, and you get a 2-year redemption period on these liens before you can foreclose. Now that was a mouthful, but I'm actually not going to go through it again right now. We're going to go through it in about 2 slides in detail when we talk about how these auctions work. I just wanted you to know what you're buying, and the term is kind of the headliner here. Almost every county in Mississippi participates in fall auctions. I say that because, like, I'd say like 70 of these auctions are county auctions. There's a handful that are just cities, and there's a few counties that don't participate. Maybe they didn't have anything, or maybe one of the cities in the county already covers their delinquencies, so they didn't have to. So it can look a little confusing when you look at all these auctions. Sometimes you expect a county to show up and you see the city name instead. So research for these auctions, you basically have 2 weeks, starting mid-August, which is right now. This stuff just went live. We literally had to redo the slides with the totals here about 4 times, because every time we thought we had every auction that they were going to release, one more would pop up. So we're hoping all the big counties are live now. So hoping there's not any of the big releases after I make this video, but we'll roll with it. I wanted to get this out early for you to have those full 2 weeks if possible. So they do circulate the delinquent tax lists in advance of these sales. They are on the Govies and Civic Source websites, and of course we've harvested them into Parcel Fair, loaded them on, so you can see them all in one place. And that's, you're going to be using that here in a second, seeing how that works. So there is another season, if you will, of spring auctions in Mississippi. So how this works is, when a property is newly delinquent, like it's just showing up on the radar, there are no tax liens on it already, and it's not gone to, actually I say that, I take it back, there could be tax liens on it already. It has not gone unpurchased in a previous auction. That's what I'm trying to say here. So let's just say, hey, there's a tax lien that doesn't sell in the fall, and in the spring, the counties have the option to re-auction that property. They don't have to, but they're allowed to. And so counties that have a big problem with unsold tax liens, they will participate in the spring auctions. Now, in 2025, only 13 of those counties had, I guess, a bad enough situation where they needed a spring auction. So, if you're thinking about the spring auctions, those lists are published in early March, and those auctions are the first Monday in April. So put that in your hat for next year. All right, let's talk about what's available. This is going to be our totals. So there are 125,326 parcels with tax liens advertised as of this moment. I say this moment because This number will go down as redemptions happen. There'll be a few that are canceled in the next 2 weeks. And so what we do at Parcel Fair is every day we look at every list, sometimes multiple times, to look for those redemptions and take them out of our lists, or we add properties that got added late. So we're going to track those changes for you so you don't have to. Or literally they'll just show up as unavailable in our system. If you bookmark it and come back later, we'll show you that is not available. So this number could go up a little bit if there's two more auctions that have been announced but no lists yet. So it may go up, it may go. It's definitely going to go down. So as of right now, 125,000. If you look at last year, that's a 2% decrease from 2024. But putting it in context, it's the last 5 years. This is pretty much in line with the other auctions for the fall season. The total delinquent tax revenue, 111 million, which is an increase from 2024, which is interesting because the number of properties went down, the amount of taxes due went up. And we calculate that by just summing up all the total opening bid amounts that are published. And that's how we calculate delinquent tax revenue. The total property value that is advertised, that's all those properties, 125,000 properties, adds up to 6.3 billion by the county appraisal. So I want to be clear that this is not like a true appraisal using comps or anything like that. This is just the counties. Every year they just throw a dart and they decide the value of a property based on their means, but they don't go to the extent that you would see in like a comps calculation. So we'll show you how to do that too. That is a 5% decrease from 2024. So the property value actually is a bit lower this year. Still in range with previous auctions though. The average property value across the board is 50K. About 60% have structures. This is a little bit on the low side for tax lien auctions. A lot of tax lien auctions we see more like 3/4. This is, a little less than 2/3. So 60% is a little bit on the low side for what we've seen. The average property value that has a structure is going to be 62,000. Remember, that's property value using county appraisal, not like using sales comps to calculate. So county appraisal there. All right, let's talk about which counties racked up the most liens for auction. So usually, I think every year I've ever looked at this, Hinds County takes the cake this year with just about 15,000 properties, of which almost 12,000 have structures. Their total taxes due, 19 million. So it's a big piece of the pie there with Hinds County, especially when you look at the next biggest county, which is Jackson, has about half the properties and about a third of the taxes due. So that's something we'll look at on the map here in a minute. You move on down the list, you have Hancock, Harrison. Some of those are coastal counties. And moving on down the list, Pearl River's kind of near Louisiana, I believe. But you'll see, this trails off pretty quick. And if you add all these together, these 10 counties are less than half of the properties that are in the whole auction offering. So you could look at it two ways. You could say, oh, well, there's a lot more opportunities not in the top 10 counties. Or you could say, hey, I can hit almost half the auctions if I just focus on 10 counties. So it's up to you. If you probably should work in counties you're familiar with and not just go by these numbers. But I know some of the tax lien investors out there do things in such a bulk mindset that it's good to look at the whole picture. So we can help you with that. So how are these auctions conducted? This is where we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts that I kind of did a hand wave on a minute ago when I was talking about the tax liens. So the premium bid format, what we're talking about there, let me back up. The premium bid format means we'll see that there's an opening bid of, let's say, $1,000 on a property, and you would go and bid higher than that to some dollar amount higher than the opening bid. You're going to do that online. All of these auctions are online. There are fixed increments in the auctions. You probably need to look at the different auctions to see what that increment is. It could be $50, it could be $100, who knows. But yeah, your auctions you participate in, when you start to do the bidding, you'll see the increments there. It'll be right in front of you. We're going to throw around this term overbid in a minute here. So overbid, that's just the amount bid above the opening bid. So again, $1,000 is the opening bid on a sample property. If you bid $1,100, that means the overbid is $100. The highest bidder wins the tax lien. And remember that interest rate is 18%. This is not a bid down interest market like some states that you've worked in. Florida tax liens are a good example. You're going to bid that interest down there. but if you're buying at auction. But in Mississippi, you're going to get an 18% interest rate on the taxes owed. Okay, not on your overbid. So in my example of $1,000, where we bid $1,100, we're going to make 18% on $1,000, and our $100 is just along for the ride. And we'll talk more about that in a second. The redemption period is 2 years. That means you can't do foreclosure until the 2 years is up. And by the way, in case you're wondering about this, this is one of the states where when it's time to buy the second year, you get the first right of refusal to buy that second year lien. You can buy it or you can pass. If you pass, there's a little bit of complication there. You got to make sure that when it comes time to foreclosure, you don't drop the ball there. But if you buy the second lien, you're in the driver's seat ready to foreclose when 2 years is up. All right, let's move on. So this is kind of what I've been building up to on this slide. This is a note to first-time investors for Mississippi tax liens or anybody that's invested and didn't know this. If an owner redeems, so the person who did not pay their taxes that were delinquent, and you let's say that back to that example, you wrap up $1,100 in a property, $1,000 opening bid, $100 overbid. If the owner redeems, you only get $1,000 plus interest back. Your $100 is gone, and so it's only a few states do it this way. I kind of call it a sucker bid because every year there's a new sucker that has not seen this happen before, and they'll take a bid, thousands of dollars over, only to see the property redeem a few months later, and so they get 18% on the taxes at the opening bid, but they just lost thousands of dollars because they didn't understand the auction rules. So my advice to you is go wide with these auctions. You bid very wide. Actually, let me throw this up. And what I mean by that is you have 125,000 plus properties to look at. Even when you filter it down to whatever your strategy is, there should be tens of thousands left. I would bid on as many as you can, as low as you can, and either bid just the opening amount, which puts you at no risk of losing money at all, or maybe do a small increment of overbid just to win a few. And if let's say you win 10 properties, and let's say 9 of them redeem, if you only bid $100 or $200 overbid on those 9 properties, but you get to foreclose on one, then you didn't really. It's kind of you washed out your losses by getting a property. So there's a lot of ways you can slice that strategy, but my advice is, and don't bid a property way up, don't bid a tax lien way up on a property unless you have like straightforward knowledge about that property and know that the owner is not going to redeem. Maybe it's a vacant house, it's abandoned, and there's no heirs and no one's living that owns it. If you can do that much homework and know for sure, then you should feel a little more comfortable bidding up. But if you're just bidding broadly across hundreds of properties, be careful out there. And my little note at the bottom is beware, the amount that you overbid will not be refunded to you if an owner redeems. So there you go. All right, so let's move on. We're going to get to the live demo part of this video, and as promised, we're going to be using Parcel Fair. Before I do that, let me just take a little trip here. Govease.com, right here. That's the site with most of the auctions on it. Civic Source is the other one. You can go to the calendar right here, and you can see Lincoln, Mississippi right there at the top. There's the auctions. I guess on Govease I can show you how to do that too. Let's go to, scroll down to Mississippi. You can see all of these different counties. This is where you would get your list and do the bids. So we're going to show you how to do the research. That's where you do the bidding. So this is parcelfair.com. Just a couple quick notes here. If you've ever used the dashboard on Parcel Fair, we try to route you through that when you log in. If you're on the site, this is where you get kind of a bird's eye view of what's important coming up. The left column has deed and foreclosure auctions. The right column here, top tax lien auctions. You'll notice that Mississippi takes the cake. There are, I think, 15 slots here, maybe, or maybe I don't know. No, it's actually 10 slots, and every one of them right now has Mississippi because during this 2-week period, these are the biggest auctions coming up, and frankly, they're almost here, August 25th. So that's one way you'll see that. We have the auction calendar button on the top right. We'll take you to the auction calendar, and I'm on Mississippi already. I was going to show you. Here's the 13 counties in April that did their uh, spring auctions. And I'm going to change my calendar over to rolling view so I can see fewer things here. I just want to see August, and there's 78 auctions right here. They're sorted by the biggest auctions first. So there's Hinds County up top. You can click on that text and see where the auction is, and even click this green button to go to the advertised list. And the blue button right here, add to calendar, that will put the auction on your email calendar. It'll email you a link, and that way your Outlook or whatever you use will remind you, and you can have a link to the auction there. But yeah, this is a big list, all on the same day. You can browse this and see beyond the top 10 as many counties as you want. If you want to view the list, you can see the options here. The first option is list everything in the county. The reason that's there is because there are OTC over-the-counter properties in Mississippi, and you might want to see them mixed in with the auction. If you just want to see the auction, that's this second option here. Only list parcels from this auction. Same two options on the map button. So you can pick and choose, am I looking at everything, or am I just want to see tax liens only that are in this auction? So what I've done in the next tab here is I want to take you through the state. We're going to cover basically 3 regions. We're going to cover the coastal area first. And I've done a little trick here. We're looking at 54,000 parcels here in the southern half. I'll show you my search filters. What I did, I cleared everything out. I'm looking at all things here, buildings, not buildings, acreage, everything. But I use located within 100 miles, and that's from the center of my screen right now. So I literally put my screen right here on the coast and did limit within 100 miles. And I did do all counties. So that's going to look across these gray county borders here. That's how I'm looking at these 3 counties here on the coast. Of course, starting from west to east, we're looking first at Hancock County. And so moving across, we're actually going to see, I'm going to just check here, yeah, Harrison. So it's Hancock and then Harrison County. I think this is Lauderdale, but I'm going to double check. Nope, it's Jackson. Okay, sorry. I get Jackson confused because there's a city called Jackson. Okay, so Hancock, Harrison, Jackson are the 3 counties on the coast. I'm just showing you the coast because it's interesting, not because you should shop there. That's up to you. But I'm switching over to satellite view. People always want to see waterfront properties. There's a chunk of beach right there you could bid on. There's some of these narrow bookend lots where you would build a deep lot with a house that has a water view like that. So there's a lot to look at there. Plenty of vacant lots. And the coast, it runs all the way to Alabama from there. And I'll be honest, I don't know the beaches that well here. I've heard of Biloxi, I've heard of some of these areas, but I've never been to them. So this looks like a nice little beachy area. So there's what I would call a beach house. So let's take a look at this thing. So what we're looking at in the top right of this panorama view of the Google Street View, I'm just going to click on that. We're just going to zoom in and see. It's this cute house here on the water, and that's the water behind it and driveway, and it's between those 2 houses. So obviously that is not real time. There could have been a storm or something, a fire. Who knows? So that's something we can only go so far with technology. But as far as the Google Street View goes, there was a house there. So let's take a look at this report, and we're going to see the county values this property at $186,000, and the Mountain Dew is $3,600 for that tax lien. If you want more information about that tax lien, click this green button and see more about it. And if we want to bid in this auction, we're going to click on this auction button under the purchase options. This takes us online GovEase. We can bid on the parcel, see the list, or add to our calendar. Okay. And one more thing while I'm here, these research links on the right side, they're going to vary from county to county, but you can get to the county GIS map, the tax assessor, the property tax search, all these different websites to do more research on the property should you want to dig in deeper. All right, so I'm done with this property. Let's move on. I think maybe we'll just move up. Coastal area, I think that's good for now. What I want to do now is let's move up and let's go to the middle of the state around here. Okay, so what we've done now is we're looking at Hinds County, Rankin County, and basically that's 2 halves of Jackson, the city. And what we're going to do is, what's the county just to the north of it? Just as a reminder, Madison County too. Okay. So let's see. Hinds is on the west side, Madison north, and Rankin on the east. Okay, so Jackson is the one I want to focus on. It is actually so many properties available here. And I say that it's tax liens. It's not, you don't really get the property unless the tax lien forecloses, but you can just see have this grid of properties available, and you're probably going to notice some of them are in blue and some of them are in yellow. Well, the yellow ones are the active auction ones. You click on those, it says active auction on there. The blue ones are going to be tax deeds, not tax liens, and they are available over the counter. So we're not going to go through that process in this video. We just put out an OTC news video, and we talk about it frequently. Just kind of put in your mind for now, there are over-the-counter tax deeds available in Mississippi for purchase. But let's keep on looking at these tax liens, okay? So let's open this one up. And so what we're doing is we're looking at a house here in Hinds County, one tax lien available. This one is vacant. So the Postal Service says the property is vacant. That means no one's checking the mail, so it appears vacant. So it could be that that increases your chances of the tax lien making it the 2 years. It's not a guarantee by any means, but it's a signal you can pay attention to. And of course, you can research the owner and see if there are if they've deceased, if there are heirs involved, something like that. If you really want to split hairs on this one. But what I want to call out to you is the estimates and comps panel here. When you compare, we have an estimated ARV of $40,000, and the county only valued the property at $21,500 for tax purposes of their appraisal. So obviously, houses like this will need repair to make it to the $40,000 mark if that's the ARV you're targeting. So if you did get this property and you did foreclose on it, you would want to put some work into it, get it up to that full ARV. And so that's how you kind of do the math on a property like this. I do want to take a look, and let's pop open the purchase options here. This one's also Gubby's. Taxes due are only $382 or $328. Here's all the information you need to go bid on that property too. So that's a good sample for what's going on in Jackson County. I'm not Jackson County, Jackson the city. My bad. And so the next thing I want to do is let's do some filtering. Okay, so we're looking at Hinds County, and we have 16,000 available parcels. Let's just look at what's at auction. So in the inventory dropdown, one way to do it is to do Hinds tax lien auction. There you go. You could also filter in availability for liens only, but this is just easier just to do picking the auction that way. Let's see how many improvements we have if we do improvements. That takes about 3,000 out. Let's do minimum acreage of 1 acre and above. That cuts it down to 574 properties. That may not be your strategy, but this is how we play around with this. Let's take the acreage off just to get our number back up. Let's do a maximum on the taxes owed. I don't want to bid on a property with more than $2,000 owed in taxes. That only took 1,000 properties out. Let's do $1,000 my max. Okay, so that got us down to 6,000 properties. All right, the total value is going to be that county value. Let's do a minimum of $20,000. That cut it down to 3,000 properties. Okay, so I think we'll just go with that list and roll with that. So let me go on my search. And there we go. So I'm looking at the properties on the map, which is fine. This is a perfectly good way to do it. However, what if I wanted to list these out ordered by value, ordered by something like that? Parcel Fair also has a way to do that with these lists. It's going to save you a ton of time. What I'm going to do is save my results as a list, which is going to take my current search, and I'm going to make a new list at the bottom here. We're going to call it MS Auctions 2025. And I have a ton of lists, so we're going to have to, there we go. So let's view, remember the search results, we had 3,998. And over here we have 3,998 saved in my list. All right, so why did I do this? Well, maybe I want to sort through these column headings by the amount due. And I see the lowest one is 15 bucks, okay? So, I'm going to say maybe the redemption on those, it's so likely I'm not going to waste time on anything under 100 bucks. I can just remove them from my list by clicking this button a few times. I could have filtered them in my search, but I'm just going to do it this way to show you the list. So now I'm going to sort by the total value. Let's see what the most expensive property is. It's like $674,000. Uh, so that's something you can do here is just keep sorting it that way. But once you maybe you make this your shopping list, maybe you don't. It's kind of up to you. But if you go through different counties, let's say that you did. Let's go to Rankin County, and so that same search gave me 700 more properties. And so let's run that. All right, so I have 700 properties here. If I save those results to a list also, I can just add it to the list I just made. So save that, view my list. And what we're going to see, let's see, so 721 parcels plus whatever I had left in that list a minute ago comes out to 4,703. So this is now my shopping list. So I could keep going county by county and adding if I wanted to, or whatever search I run on Parcel Fair, I can save those lists off here and ultimately kind of whittle my list down. One cool thing is if some of these redeem, it's going to show unavailable in the list. I don't have one to show you right now, but it will show up as unavailable in gray. I can go to my list options and I can remove unavailable parcels, which means I can have this take redemptions out of my list so they're out of my face and I don't have to look at them anymore. But what's really cool is once you've done your homework, you've whittled this list down to what you want it to be, you can actually download it, not only to like a spreadsheet, a CSV spreadsheet, but we have this little beta feature where you can download it to the Govies format. And that's going to download these properties using their format so that you can put your bidding in that spreadsheet and upload it to their website. So I call that a beta feature because we can't guarantee anything on the upload on Govies. We don't control that software. It's just something we figured out their format by looking at their files, and we format our output file to save you a few clicks. So again, try it on Govies. Worst case, you may have to reformat the spreadsheet if their format changes, but as of right now, we're using the format we know they use. And that way you can, you may bid on 1,000 parcels. I have no idea what your strategy is. You may bid on 10. But if you want to do it in bulk, you can do that on Govies using the spreadsheet that you download from here. So I think I've touched on everything we wanted to cover. This is a big opportunity every year, year after year. This is always one of the biggest auction seasons behind, maybe states like Arizona and Florida, a few others. But this amount of property getting tax liens all at once, all for auction on the same day, it's just something you should pay attention to as an opportunity. Whether it's right for you or not is up to you. But your strategy, we can apply it right here in Parcel Fair. We can help you whittle that list down to what you can work with, and you can further kind of refine that thing into what you want to bid on, and then make your move with the auction software. So I hope this was helpful. There's a lot to look at here. I hope you're able to dive in and find what you need. And of course, again, thank you for watching today. I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel so you get notifications when these videos pop up. If you like our channel, if you don't bother. And if you did like this video, hit the like button. We've been doing a lot more news videos lately than we have been doing like the focused market videos like this, and that's based on your feedback. So if you prefer this type of video especially, hit the like button, and that gives us a signal that you want more of this kind of content, and we'll keep making it. So best of luck at the auction, and have a great day.